So the question is, and it's an interesting question, should the Switch 2 have a console-only version? That is to say that there's no handheld, there's no screen, it's just a dock with all of the technology inside of the dock. And the reason for this would be to reduce the price of the system, to give consumers some options. Now, a lot of people wanted this for the original Switch, but it never happened. And it's hard to say if it will happen for the Switch 2. I don't think it will happen, but I do think it should happen because there's a lot of people that don't play the Switch 2 or the Switch in handheld mode. I know Josh Thomas from the BitBlock YouTube channel, he doesn't play the Switch in handheld mode ever. He says this. So for him, it would be much cheaper just to buy a console and not have to deal with the LCD, which seems to be a pretty decent LCD screen with variable refresh rates, 120 hertz, HDR, a 7.9-inch 1080p screen. I mean, that's gotta cost a lot of money, plus all of the technology inside of the handheld, which doesn't need to exist if it's just a stationary console, so they can save money there. I think Nintendo is probably considering this now that they know that the tariffs in the USA might be a problem. We don't know if they're going to increase the price of the Switch 2 because of the tariffs. I personally do not think they will, but if they do increase the price, despite me thinking they won't, I think that they will probably have to consider offering a console-only version so that you can play Switch 2 games on your TV. And I think a lot of people would be happy with that. Now, you could say, well, the PlayStation Vita had something like this with the PlayStation TV, and it wasn't successful, but the Vita itself was not successful, so that's not really a fair comparison. There's also the fact that the battery life of the Switch 2 is quite bad, with only about 2 hours to, I think, 5 hours of maximum battery life. And that's not very good. I mean, 2 hours playing a game, you can probably burn through that quite quickly. So if you're trying to play this outside portably, 2 hours might be a little bit too low. For me, I never play games outside. Never. Not even once in my life have I ever played a game outside. Because if I'm going outside, I want to exercise, I want to do something outside. I don't want to play games outside. So for me, portable consoles are just really for using at home. But despite that, I still like having a screen on my portable device because sometimes I don't want to turn on the TVs. I don't know, it's just really a laziness thing where I don't want to do anything else. I just want to turn the console on and play it. In this economy, I might be able to trade in that laziness for a lower price. If they offered a dock-only with the technology inside the dock Switch, I would probably buy the console version, but I'm not upset that the Switch 2 is just like the original Switch where you have to buy the screen, you have to buy the portable aspect of the console. But I know a lot of people would probably be happy with just a console-only Switch 2. Now the question is, what would the price be if you got rid of the screen, if you got rid of everything that has to do with the portable aspect? And honestly, I think minimum it would be $100 cheaper. It should probably be more than that, but minimum it would be $100 cheaper. So instead of $449 USD, it would be $349 USD. Could be even cheaper than that, but that's, I think, the minimum Nintendo could get away with by getting rid of the portable aspect. Now, $100 to get rid of the screen doesn't seem worth it for a lot of people, but for people that, you know, the choice is spend $100 less or don't spend any money at all, that makes sense. Like, it's like the Switch Lite. The Switch Lite wasn't that much cheaper than the original Switch, but for some people, that $100 or that $150, however much it was, that's the make or break difference, and they're willing to give up all of the benefits of the original Switch just for the slightly cheaper price point. And, you know, I think Nintendo is leaving a lot of potential sales off the table if they don't have a console-only Switch 2. I don't think it was necessary for the original Switch, but with this increase in price, with the tariffs, with everything else going on, with the economic uncertainty of today's world, I do think that a console-only Switch 2 is a smart decision. I don't think it will happen, but I think it's a smart decision that Nintendo should do and should consider very close to the launch of the normal Switch 2. But what do you guys think? Should Nintendo release a console-only Switch 2 to combat the price concerns and the tariffs and everything else going on? Or should they just stick to their original plan? But really, is it fair that people have to buy a Switch 2 with a screen if they don't want the screen? Do you think that's fair? Do you think that makes sense? Because honestly, it's also wasting resources. It's wasting the Earth's natural resources to release a console and then people don't even use the features in the console. The screen, the technology in the screen, everything like that. They don't use it. It's kind of a waste, not just in money, but in terms of resources. So I think options are a good thing. And also, frankly, it's good if people want to buy multiple Switch 2s. They can buy one just for the TV, and then they can buy one just for portable use. I think that's honestly a good thing. Now, Nintendo might want to keep the, oh, it's a Switch gimmick in place where that, yeah, you can switch modes. But honestly, with the Switch Lite, they proved they don't really care about that gimmick because the Switch Lite can't do TV play. So Nintendo proved they don't really care about that gimmick. So, you know, with the Switch 2, it wouldn't really matter. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for tons more coverage on Nintendo. We've got plenty of videos that nobody has watched, so I recommend you go and watch them. They're pretty funny, and we'll see you next time.